Hey guys, it's Hannah and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a beginner's guide to owning chickens. So today I'm going to be talking a lot about chicken care and how to care for your hens. I hope this video is helpful for you guys and I hope you guys like it. If you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below so you can see future videos of mine. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is what to feed your hens, your biddies, whatever you have. If you have chicks, you are going to need to feed them chick starter, which is what you will feed them until they reach 8 weeks old. And then once your chickens reach 8 weeks old, you are going to need to switch them to a grower. When they reach 18 weeks, you are going to need to switch them to a layer because hens usually start laying between 18 weeks and 24 weeks. Usually in that period of time is when they will lay their first egg. So usually you will need to switch them to a layer feed once they reach that 18-week mark. And after that, you will keep them on that layer feed. So when they are chicks, you are going to need to feed them a chick starter until they are 8 weeks old. And then once they reach that 8-week-old mark, you are going to need to feed them a grower. And then once they reach 18 weeks old, you are going to switch them to a layer feed. And also when you have adult chickens, it also depends on what season it is. So if it is late fall or winter, you are probably going to need to feed them whole corn to fatten them up, to raise their body heat, to get them ready for the cold winter months. So in the fall and winter time, you are probably going to want to feed a higher fat diet because all that fat will keep them warm in the fall and winter time. So I usually feed my hens whole corn in the late fall and winter to keep them warm, and they also really like corn. And also when your hens are molting in the fall, you are going to need to feed them a high protein diet. And I have a separate video just talking about molting and kind of what that process is. And basically what molting is where your hens will lose all of their feathers and grow new ones for the winter. And I have a separate video just talking about molting and kind of some protein supplements that you can feed your hens. So if you want to learn more about molting, I will have a video linked down in the description box so you can go and watch that to learn about the molting process. And also it is really good to feed your hens garlic. It promotes their health and it also lowers the chances of external parasites. And then also fruits and vegetables and scraps that you may have. And also once your hens start to lay eggs, they are going to need some type of calcium supplement because your hens have to have a high calcium diet to have strong eggshells and to lay eggs. There are many types of different calcium supplements. I feed my chickens oyster shell because they are high in calcium, and so those help the eggshells to be strong and for the hens to lay eggs. Calcium is really important because if your hens don't have enough calcium to lay eggs, they will start taking their calcium from their bones to lay their eggs. So then their bones will start deteriorating if they don't have enough calcium to lay eggs. And then you are also going to need to feed your hens grit, which is going to digest their food and help grind it up so they can digest it, because hens don't have teeth, so they can't digest like vegetables and bigger things because they don't have teeth. So when your hens' food goes into their crop, which is like their stomach, and that is what holds all of their food, you are going to need to feed them grit. So grit is kind of like a little tiny rocks and pebbles. If you have free-ranging chickens, you don't really need to feed a lot of grit because they will find little rocks and stuff and they'll eat those. But if you have your hens in a coop and in a run, they're going to need to eat grit because that will help them grind up their food. So basically when their food is in their crop, they will eat the grit and the grit will grind up their food for them so they can digest it. So if you don't feed your hens grit, they will have digestive problems. So it's really important that you feed your hens grit. And then you always want to make sure that your hens have clean, fresh water. This has a lot to do with their health and how they lay their eggs. So you definitely want to make sure they are always hydrated. And when you clean out their waters, I suggest using vinegar because it works really well when you are scrubbing out their water, and vinegar is natural, so it isn't going to harm your hens at all. And then you are going to deworm your hens. I deworm my hens every 4 months, and I deworm them naturally with diatomaceous earth. I also have a separate video about how I deworm my hens, so I will have that linked down below as well if you want to know more about deworming your hens naturally with diatomaceous earth. And I keep my hens worm-free since I worm them every 4 months, but the way you tell if your hens have worms or not, when your hens lay their eggs, your eggs will just be dirty, and that is the exception of having a clean coop and clean chickens and all that kind of stuff, your hens will have dirty eggs, and that means that they have worms. And also, I really love to sprinkle diatomaceous earth in the run where my chickens dust their feathers and take dust baths, because the diatomaceous earth gets up in their feathers and it prevents external parasites as well. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about your chicken coop and the run and all of that stuff. So basically how to house your chickens. And a lot of people have different types of chicken coops, free range birds. It just kind of depends on your situation and how you want to house your birds. So you can either have them in a chicken coop at night and then have them free ranging during the day, or have a nice chicken coop in a big run for them to stay in. One thing I would not recommend doing is going online and ordering a chicken coop or buying one at a store, just because they are very small and they are just too small for chickens to live in. So I would recommend building your own. And when you are building your chicken coop, you are going to want to think about the predators in your area and try to make your coop predator proof as much as possible, especially where your hens are going to be sleeping at night, because most predators come out at night. So you want to make sure where your roosts are, where your hens sleep, you want that to be pretty enclosed where your hens are safe at night. And then usually the predators during the day are more so like hawks and things like that. So you are going to be sure that your hens have a roof over their run where they will be during the day. And then you're going to need nesting boxes in your chicken coop. And there are tons and tons of DIY nesting boxes online and on Pinterest and all of that stuff. Your average nesting box is usually 12 inches by 12 inches. And some are 15 inches by 15 inches. But you want to make sure that your nesting boxes are pretty enclosed, because hens like privacy when they are laying their eggs. And you will usually need about 3 nesting boxes per 10 hens. You don't need a nesting box per chicken. You just need a few per 10 chickens, because they don't all lay at the same time. So you can just have about 3 nesting boxes per 10 hens, and they will just kind of figure out which nesting boxes they want to use. And in the summertime, I like to provide something that the hens can get in with water in it, because the quickest way for hens to cool off is to get their feet wet and their heads wet. So in the summertime, I will usually put a tub in the chicken run with water in it, and they'll stand in it, and it really cools them off. So I would recommend doing that in the late spring and summer to try and cool their bodies off. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about chicken care, comment them down below, because if I get multiple questions about caring for chickens, I'm going to make a separate video like a chicken care Q&A. So I will be answering your questions in another video about chicken care and all that kind of stuff. But if your question needs to be answered fairly quickly, then email me. My email will be up on the screen, and my email is always linked down below. So if you have any question that needs to be answered quickly, then be sure to email me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. I love you guys so much, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!